Here we go. The pads officially came on with Nolan Smith showing excitement and ready to hit somebody. What has Haason Reddick saying the Rook will be one of the greats? And AJ Brown was literally unguardable at practice while DeVonta Smith made the play of camp so far, showcasing insane range. Jalen Carter also picked up a guard, and Legatron appears to be winning the punt battle. That and so much more, but first, let's run it. Hey everybody, in case you don't know, I'm Josh and I cover the Birds. At this point, we've had practices and drills, which is cool and all, but now we've got the pads on, which also marks the start of a glorious Philadelphia training camp tradition, the Rookies Singing Show. Okay, that was bad, although maybe not as bad as the Eagles sideline fitted cap. Like, bro, what? Not surprisingly, fans let the NFL have it, saying, I could have gotten that from the gas station 7 years ago, or returned that back to 2002, or my personal favorite, looks like something my aunt brought home from Kmart in 01.
That's definitely you.
Really?
That's more you than you've ever been.
To each their own, but I highly doubt any of the Eagles want to wear that stuff on the sideline. Out of curiosity, does anyone actually think that looks good? Speaking of the sidelines, only one of the Birds was inactive as Deon Cain suffered an ankle injury so didn't practice, while the rest has been the same old with Barnett, Maddox, and Reddick all limited. Practice started out with Jake Elliott banging field goals through the uprights. Not really a surprise that he didn't miss. By the way, we should also congratulate the Super Bowl winning kicker as he and his wife Annie gave birth to their son Bo Daniel this last Saturday. All right, back to practice. And how great of a sight it is to see the guys back in pads, stretching out, loosening up, and getting ready for— Wait a second, what is that? Apparently, the Eagles are using a drone to get footage at practice, or possibly Belichick is in town. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility since the Birds play the Pats on week 1, although I guess it could be 76ers owner and now also Washington Commanders owner Josh Harris spying from the Wells Fargo Center across the street. Either way, they got a whole lot of smash mouth football.
Hit people, we do this for a living. When we have that plastic on, it just feels that. You love it.
I think most of the team enjoyed it, and like just about every practice, the Birds started out working with ball security and then moved to one-on-one drills, yet it was the running back room who stumbled in pass-blocking blitz pickup versus the linebackers, with every back on the roster notably losing a rep. If there was a guy who had a passable grade based on reports, it would have been Boston Scott. On the flip side, it was linebacker Christian Ellis who shined, dusting up Kennedy Brooks in 3 straight reps, leaving the Athletics' Bo Wolf to say the Buddha probably needs a better matchup. Yeah, I'd kind of like to see him taking on one of the starting backs. However, it's worth mentioning that after drills, Ellis was noticed getting the starting nod on the first team with Nakobe Dean. I know I mentioned the subpar day for the running back room, yet at least the positive was that Kenny G recognized it as the top area of improvement after practice.
I'd probably say my blocking aspect, just want to be more firm, want to be more smooth, knowing the points from Kelsey, knowing everything I had to do from lane to Jordan, just want to be more smooth on just pass protection. Listening to Kelsey, like we got a motto right now in our running back room: listen to the damn center. So that's all we got to do.
Honestly, that's probably good advice for just about everyone. Listen to the beer chugger, Sexy Batman, which is exactly what Cam Jurgens did before the big men went at it. As notably, Jurgens faced off against Jalen Carter, but might have held him down on the rep, committing a penalty. Hard to say according to Jeff Kerr. Although Carter easily beat Tyrese Robinson in the following rep, causing Cam Jurgens to say he's glad the Breadman's on his team. I think that tells you all you need to know about how impressed the O-line is with Carter, except there was a more noteworthy rep later when Jalen showcased his crazy pure strength during a run play the other way and literally straight up lifted a grown man off the ground. Although it sounds like the play was too far away for the media to actually see which guard it was on offense, but who really cares? Are we really surprised though? I love hearing about him doing this at the next level, but come on, this is who he is. There was more Georgia domination going on with reports of Jordan Davis making quick work of Brett Toth before meeting a much tougher challenge in Landon Dickerson. I know the Eagles don't allow any filming, and apparently everyone said this matchup ended in a draw, yet it would have been one of those battles I would have loved to see. There wasn't much else we heard about JD throughout the 90-minute session until the Enquirer's Jeff McClain did note the 6'6", 336-pounder walking back out onto the field long after players and fans had vanished to run gassers with his two younger brothers, Donovan and Yashi. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is next level for Davis. I can't recall hearing anything about him doing this last season, so this just goes to show he's taking that whole being a pro part very seriously. We also got another SEC contest in one-on-ones between the Rook, Tyler Steen, and Jalen Carter, which also resulted in a split decision. Personally, I take that as a moral victory for Steen after what we've heard about Carter. The other competition to mention was between Beef Jerky Cam Jurgens and the vet himself, Fletcher Cox. Unfortunately for Jurgens, it wasn't really close, since the second-year guard had his hands full facing off against Fletch on one instance where Cox upended Jurgens in one-on-one, and more devastatingly earlier during team drills when he used a swim move to dispose of the guard. To his credit, the Cornhusker rebounded on the very next play when Nolan Smith stunted inside and ran into a wall. So not a total loss, and the 23-year-old also mentioned how much Fletch has been helping him in his progression and playing a new position.
I mean, he'll tell me what he sees from my sets from like the defensive lineman perspective and how he sees that like I could do something a little bit better, and so it's cool hearing it from that side. And he's been in the league for so long, he knows exactly what the weakness is and what he's looking for. So it's nice to see what they're looking for, so I can just learn from it and get better on the next rep.
I don't know. Maybe he'll end up starting at guard. I mean, Jurgens did say when asked about his weight that he's over 300 pounds thanks to a very special diet consisting of eating anything and everything that tastes good.
Wait. I worry what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
I'm interested to see how this plays out because although Jurgens didn't have his best day, Sirianni and the staff continue to suggest he's got a firm hold on the right guard spot. Although if Brett Toth, who the majority consensus said has had a really rough go the last couple practices, keeps it up, maybe the Birds will let Steen get some reps at first team to see what he can really do. In case you're not aware of the issues, Toth has been awful at snapping the ball consistently, with Mariota, who's not played well either, having to constantly reach for balls. Okay, that sounded weird. Including one play in particular where a play was blown dead when Toth rolled a snap wide of the QB. I'm obviously stating the obvious here. That ain't good. However, one guy that is good is my favorite rook, Nolan Smith, who showed off his absurd quickness and beat Dennis Kelly in a one-on-one drill, followed by a quick disposal of undrafted free agent Chim Okorafor. That's not really surprising though, is it? Sure, it's great to hear. However, I think I'd like to hear more about how he does against the first team guys like Lane and Jordan. Also, just to maintain the integrity of this show, you guys know how much I love Nolan Smith, yet we've got to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it wasn't all wins for the rook either, as Smith went for the ghost dip on one rep, but the right tackle didn't bite and drove him into the ground on the high side. I couldn't find who the tackle was. One report said Fred Johnson and the other one said Dennis Kelly, so who knows? The cool part is that Smith's staying hungry and excited to learn, with vets continually offering extra tips and tricks. Since Smith said that was one of the things I was afraid about in the NFL. They say certain guys don't try to help you, but man, we don't have that here at the Eagles, and it's just really everybody pulling in the same direction. It's really no wonder the team is so good and why Nolan's gonna be so great, because he's a sponge and Haason Reddick loves the kid, saying he's electric, he's gonna have a lot of success in his career, he's been a sponge so far, soaking up every bit of information that he can, which I love to see. I feel he has greatness ahead of him, which was so awesome to hear and super fantastic, positive vibes, until one media member went on a buzzkill mission asking Haason Reddick if he thinks he's underpaid.
Keep coming out, keep working, man. Those type of things have a way of sorting themselves out, you know what I'm saying? So I want to just continue to come out, work, prepare myself. Like I said, continue to be a better version of Haason Reddick, continue to be a great teammate, go out here, work hard for the guys, and let those things sort themselves out as they should.
Are you underpaid?
Say it again.
Are you underpaid?
I ain't going to say it. I mean, like I said, y'all see it. Y'all know what's going on. Like I said, I'm worried about being the best version of myself and letting everything else sort itself out.
Look, I think it's a great answer from Reddick, and sure, the 28-year-old being ranked as the number 48 player in the top 100 list has to be upsetting, but really, of all the questions you could ask in that moment, you're gonna ask about a contract? It feels like someone's trying to make a story out of nothing, since we've had the recent running back situation and holdouts there, so sure, it'll get views, but was that really necessary? Let me know what you guys think. Did you feel that question was fair, or was it really odd timing right there? Don't get me wrong, Reddick definitely deserves a bag. However, even even he said winning is his main priority, and that he still has the nameplate from the Super Bowl in front of him in the locker room as a daily reminder, saying, I look at it every stinking day and want to get back to that point. He's clearly on a mission, and similar to Jalen's background phone set as a reminder. Speaking about QB1 himself, Jalen recently went on with Mike Garafolo of NFL Network, revealing he's down to 7.1% body fat. If you don't recall, last year Hurts made a point to cut down on some of the weight and was at 8.5% body fat. I'm running out of words to describe Jalen at this point. Although he definitely had an outstanding day 4 of media sessions where he went 15 for 17 with 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. I think it's saying something when Elliott Shore-Parks, a known Hurts doubter in the past, is saying, I never thought I'd see better QB play in training camp than I saw in 2017 from Carson Wentz. 2017 Wentz was my gold standard for QB play in training camp. 2023 Jalen Hurts might be setting the new standard. He's been that good through 4 practices. I can't say I'm surprised, especially because we know who Jalen is. However, I think we all know to maybe not get carried away because after all, this is just training camp. Yet it does seem like Jalen's turning up the intensity, with Brandon Lee Gouton noting Hurts has been on fire the past 2 practices and is yet to throw an interception in camp, unlike one NFC quarterback we know who, let's just say, hasn't been on his A game. But back to the Birds. They've continued to implement more looks on offense to utilize the weapon that is DeAndre Swift, with Sirianni referencing the fact that it's not like he's against throwing to RBs, it's just that they haven't had the weapons to do so until now, which is why we're seeing it a lot more all of a sudden. You guys know how I feel about Swift and the screen game, and I think it just adds another element to account for, which may open up things more for the receiver group to make plays, like the one insane catch made by DeVonta Smith while matched up with Darius Slay during one-on-ones. Slay was clearly in really good position, but Smith was able to create some separation at the last second and snag it. Thankfully, the Eagles social media account decided to post it and share so that we could actually see what happened. EJ Smith also shared that AJ Brown had 2 consecutive catches against a good coverage from James Bradberry, the first being a perfect back shoulder throw, and the second a stop route. Then Bradberry got torched again on a 50-yard touchdown on a beautifully thrown ball from Hurts. Actually, it was a 60-yarder, or 70.
You had 12 brothers and sisters?
8.
Yeah, 12 sounds better.
Whatever, it was really far, and what made it even better was that this all happened while Jalen Carter was bearing down on Hurts before lofting it over Terrell Edmunds and James Bradberry in coverage. If you're like me when you first saw that, I'm thinking, cool, okay, great, Carter's getting a good rush, but why is James Bradberry getting burned so much? Except let's remember, like Thomas Peterson pointed out, All-Pro JB had the lowest passer rating allowed in the league despite the 6th most targets. The Hurts to AJ connection is just that good. That's fair, because without a doubt, the Hurts to AJ connection is unstoppable, but the Hurts to Smitty is too, as Jalen later found Skinny Batman while being chased by Josh Sweat, leaving CBS Sports' Jeff Kerr to say he's been thoroughly impressed by Smitty at camp. I don't think it's a question that Philly has one of the most dominant wide receiver combinations in the league, and neither does the Hall of Famer Randy Moss, who said he would put them at the very top. If there's any other he'd compare it to, it'd be the Bengals, but he doesn't really think there's a combination better than them. I'd agree with that, and I'm gonna guess you would too, but how about Quez Watkins being elite? In case you missed it, Fast Batman claimed he's elite. What? I don't know. I do think that Quez is going to have a good season, but I'm not sure that I'm going to put them right up there at the elite category yet. But what about you, though? Senseless or not, there was one receiver who might have been knocked senseless thanks to a big hit at practice, when rookie UDFA cornerback Mekhi Garner lowered his shoulder into Charleston Rambo, sending him flying. Amazingly, Rambo was actually able to hold onto the ball, so credit to him for that. Yet just another play where Garner is solidifying his name on the Chris Trapasso's had no business going undrafted team. I know we've talked about it already. There's a chance Garner could eke out a spot on the roster if he keeps it up. Talking about roster spots, I think Reed Blankenship's name could go ahead and be etched in stone. Okay, maybe that's a little crazy. Yet he just never seems to leave the field on first team reps. However, the bigger surprise is that Kvon Wallace has mostly been starting with the first team. So curious, what do you think about that? Do you think Kvon has a legitimate chance to start? I feel like it could be trending in that direction, although I'd like to see what Sidney Brown is able to do and if he can eventually get some reps there. The good news is that Josh Tolentino pointed out it does seem like Sidney Brown is climbing the depth chart ladder, as he did get some second team reps. So something to continue monitoring, as is the punt battle, where according to Jimmy Kimsky's punt analysis and calculations, it was the rookie Ty Zentner who got the better of Aaron Siposs by producing better hang time and better coffin corner numbers on average. Super small sample size, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the first camp session that Zentner has clearly beaten the vet. Does that give you guys some hope for him? Also wanted to mention the Kelly Green games have been announced, with October 22nd versus Miami on Sunday Night Football and November 26th versus Buffalo being the 2 games the Birds will wear the new jerseys. You're technically able to wear them for 3 games, so I'm not sure if the Eagles are waiting to announce for a 3rd game or if it's only going to be 2. But speaking of the Kelly Green jerseys, reminder that we have a live show tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, where we'll be giving away a Kelly Green jersey of your choosing, so be sure to tune in and we'll see you there. This has been the Philly Special.